Okay, yeah. So Malawian civil society is made up of non-governmental organizations, faith-based organizations, and trade unions and other groups as well. So NGOs, the non-governmental organizations making a part of the civil society, they play a major role in promoting human rights as well as advocacy. So through this law, they have advanced the work of democracy and human rights, social and economic development, and also national building. Yeah, so next slide, please. All right, thank you, sir. Specific examples of injustice and oppression in resonance with Amos's critics. First one is corruption. There's this program in our country called AIP. It stands for Affordable Input Program, which is for the less privileged in the rural areas, especially farmers, specifically farmers that are less privileged so that they can be able to purchase farm inputs at a lower cost. So these farm inputs include fertilizer or hybrid seeds, like for maize, maybe. We also have this crop called soy plant. So they also access those seeds at a cheaper price. Yeah. So it happens that this program can you return to the previous slide, please? Yeah. So it happens that this program, AIP, faces some kind of corrupt acts such as overpricing. So instead of these less privileged farmers to access the farm inputs at a lower cost, they give them higher prices so that they can be able to take some of the money which remains after selling these inputs, and also the selling of underweight quantities of the inputs. So there's also this case of use of funds by the rich enriching themselves at the expense of the poor, which was condemned in Amos 5, verse 11, because in Amos 5, verse 11, Amos said that, therefore, because you treat down the poor and take green taxes from him. So he's condemning the act that is to treat down the poor. So that is part of the example of an injustice and oppression that the marginalized face in our country. Another one is the gender-based violence, whereby women and girls are on the receiving end of harsh treatments, such as cases of rape, early marriages. Sometimes in the rural areas, in poor families, girls are forced into early marriages just because families are trying to benefit from that marriage or from that union. So hence, instead of pursuing their education, they end up getting into marriage at a tender age. So that is also part of an injustice which was condemned by Amos in Amos 1 verse 14, which says that, but I will kindle a fire in the war. No, it's Amos 1 verse 13, not 14. Thus says the Lord, for 3 transgressions of the people of Ammon, and for 4, I will not turn away its punishment, because they ripped open the women with child in Gilead, that they might enlarge their territory. So it is an act which was condemned by Amos. So another example is labor exploitation. As my brother already explained that cases of low wages given to the workers, as well as poor working conditions that are not even conducive to the workers. So it's like just using them to their own advantage so that they can be enriched while at the expense of the workers. So it is also an act which was condemned by Amos in Amos 1 verse 6. So these are some of the examples which are take place in our country, which are in resonance with Amos's critics. Thank you, sir. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so the role of Malawian civil society organizations, MCSOs, in promoting social justice. First one is promoting human rights and working in advocacy. Second one is they act as the voice for the voiceless, whereby maybe the marginalized cannot even have their messages heard to the intended audience. So these Malawian civil society organizations like maybe NGOs take part in their voices heard. So there's the providing checks and balances to counter governmental corruption. Like some years ago, there was this issue that we have an governmental organization. It's called HRDC, which then looks into such kind of cases, maybe which the government might be involved in or the personnel is involved in associated with the government. So they do these kind of things. Maybe they go on a march on the road or doing demonstrations, peaceful demonstrations, that is in order to relay a message, okay? So there's the raising of community awareness of negative cultural traditions and beliefs. For instance, cultural traditions and beliefs like the early marriages. So communities are sensitized on these matters. So there's also the empowering of the rural and urban communities to exercise their rights. So part of the things which the Malawian civil society organizations do in the country in order to promote social justice. These are some of the things which they do. Thank you, sir. Can you go to the next slide? Thanks, sir. Okay. Where is the prophetic messages and voices like Amos, in which they can be used to empower and mobilize the marginalized? Okay. The first one is ensuring that messages are reaching the intended audiences. Yeah, because some of these messages can be, despite these messages being empowering, despite these messages being very important, but sometimes they might be limited in terms of the audiences that are supposed to be receiving these messages, especially in places whereby these cases of corruption, oppression, and injustice are rampant. So by making sure that these messages are reaching the intended audiences, I think the the desired outcome that these messages and voices can achieve can be achieved quickly, and it can cause the effect that is needed when these messages and voices are relayed. So there's need for that to ensure that these messages are reaching the intended audiences, especially in places where these acts are common. So another way is by setting independent groups that ensure that every citizen is accountable to the messages regardless of status and position. So these independent groups must be those ones which are doing a supervisory role in trying to make sure that not only are the people with low statuses adhering to the messages, but even those in higher positions, they are paying attention to such kind of messages. Another way is use of social media platforms such as WhatsApp, Facebook, and network service providers. In Malawi, we have such kind of network service providers like TNM, Airtel. Sometimes they do send random messages to their customers, maybe advising them, rather giving them notices on maybe an upcoming network problem or something similar. So if they can use such kind of platform so that the messages, they can reach a number of people in a short period of time at a lower cost, I think that also can be a great strategy in making sure that these voices and messages are reaching the intended people and the masses. Also, there's need for supporting such voices and messages with the security resources and not trampling them down. Okay, so there's need for a threat-free environment for such kind of messages and voices to grow and to cover much space. Because sometimes if they are trampled down, it means that a lot of people will not be able to hear. And there are other people who are living in very typical villages. So there's a need for resources for such kind of messages to reach such kind of places so that people there are also empowered and mobilized. So another way is to use of tools such as movies, poetry, dramas, to reach some groups like youths and children. You know, youths, they are fascinated by such kind of things. They enjoy entertainment a lot. So in order to get their attention quickly, such kind of messages can be embedded in tools like movies, poetries, and dramas for them to be able to easily understand what kind of message is being conveyed to them. So the last one is chiefs and political leaders must not be conspiring against such voices, but rather working together with them. So because chiefs, you know, chiefs and political leaders have authority. So it means that a lot of people, they are subjects. So by working together with chiefs and political leaders, it becomes easier to reach the people of the land. It becomes easier to get their attention. So by doing so, a lot of people will be reached with such kind of voices and messages. Yeah. So I think this one is the next slide. So I'll just get on it. So strategies for effectively challenging existing power structures and advocating for change. Okay, so there's a need for civic education and awareness campaigns with regard to the law. A lot of people are ignorant of what the law is saying concerning their rights and their privileges. So by civic educating them and giving them awareness campaigns, it's like empowering them for them to know what actually belongs to them and what does it mean for their rights to be abused. So that they can take proper measures, or they can engage in right ways or actions in order to see to it that every injustice and oppression is met with the law. The second strategy is exposing perpetrators that bribe organizations that fight against injustice. Just because other people, they have a lot of money, they can make a lot of finances. So what they do is that they bribe such kind of organizations so that they stop even into looking into such kind of matters. So by doing so, it finds that even the work of the organizations is hindered. So there's need for such kind of perpetrators to be exposed so that this fight against injustice is not being hindered. The third one is involving security providing bodies, such as the police, who are able to provide a safe and threat-free environment. Sometimes organizations may not even reach further looking into cases because they are being threatened or they are not feeling safe. So by doing so, it means that they are in a space where they don't feel threatened, they feel safe, and they can easily carry out their work. The fourth one is this, that ensuring that no one is above the law just because someone is holding a higher position, and doesn't mean that he shouldn't face the law. Just because someone is poor doesn't mean he should be facing the law just because he is failing even to pay to redeem himself or herself. So there's need for such kind of strategies that ensure that no one is above the law. Everyone, if they have committed a crime, if they have committed injustice or oppression, they must face the law. So the last one is that ensuring that both the citizenry and organizations have joined hands in fighting against injustice, and all are given to accountability and transparency. Yeah, because the citizenry is where the organizations will be getting the answers from, or getting some of the hidden things which might be hidden by the authorities above them. So if they can work together, it means that it's very easy to identify some of the cases which can be hidden. And also by organizations, if they be accountable and transparent enough, they will gain the trust of the citizens, so that the citizens will feel like they have somewhere whereby if they relay their matter, they will be helped accordingly. So such kind of strategies might work in challenging existing power structures. Thank you, sir. Maybe can you go to the next slide? Hello? Yeah, thank you, sir. Okay. So insights and resources for a more just and equitable society. There's a talk of use of social media and network service providers to reach a large number of people in a short period of time and at a lower cost, cooperating with authorities such as political leaders and chiefs, like I said earlier, that they are in charge of a large number of people. And so by reaching them, it means you have already have access to a large number of people. I've lost the material.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I was saying that cooperating with authorities such as political leaders and chiefs, civic education and awareness campaigns, cooperating with the police for the sake of safety and threat-free environment, establishing integrity and being transparent to the citizenry so that they can be trusted, the organizations themselves, and also requesting for funds where necessary to keep them up and running. So in terms of the resources that they can keep them running to reach a number of people, and also to keep on doing the work that they are supposed to be doing. Yeah, so yeah, in conclusion, the discussed above make some of the strategies that can be used by the Malawian societies in dealing with issues of injustice and oppression, whilst mobilizing and empowering the marginalized by use of prophetic voices or messages like Amos. So thank you very much. May God bless you.